Okay, chapter 10, our last chapter in Raising Grateful Kids in an Entitled World. I feel like I can never get the title right. I'm sure you guys have noticed, and it's okay if you make fun of me. So, this chapter started off with a sentence that made me not want to read it. The following pages are probably the most important in the book, and yet they might be the hardest to read. And I quickly understood why. Parenting is messy. It's the first thing I wrote down. And, part of me is like, yeah, it sure is. But the other part of me is like, I don't even know what's ahead of my way. We are in the golden years, the little years are really hard. I feel like laborious physically. And then the training years are really, really, really hard. And these years, 6, 7, 8, what I hope will last through about 10 and 11, are just so special, so sweet. Our kids think we're awesome. Everything is fun to them. They're innocent and sweet, and they care about what you think and what you say. They listen to you and take your counsel and advice. They don't necessarily have their own opinions and thoughts yet and feel the need to pour them all over you and tell you you're wrong, which I'm sure, once 12, 13, 14 hit, that's the challenging time where you're watching your children figure out what they think, what do they believe. And, if you think back to when you were a young teen, I remember thinking, this is what I think, based on things I had heard other people say or watched or read, and quickly, soon after, had a different view, because you're really trying to figure out, what do you think? But you're quick to express what you think without even really being sure, And so I can see that being a difficult time, and it's scary. It's super scary, but I'm not there yet. Praise the Lord. I have a few years to prepare, and I feel like the Lord's so gracious in parenting. Yes, it's hard. It's extremely sanctifying, but you kind of, you have time to gradually get there. And so I'm not just being given Ivan at 14. I know Ivan since he was born, and I bathed him and changed his diaper and nursed him, and then I disciplined and trained him for so many years, and now I'm trying to learn to sit and reason with him and talk to him, and it's just gradual changes. And by the time he's 13 and 14, I hope that I know him well enough to know, yeah, we might disagree in this or that, but we know how to talk to each other, and there might be hard moments, but we love each other, and I'm on your side, right? So just cultivating all of that, it's just crazy. So she started with saying, if you go this route, all hell might break loose or will break loose in your house. And I can see that, being truth to that. I'm sure that will be more towards those years versus now, because our kids know that we make decisions for our family that other families don't make for their family, and they just, I don't know, it's not that hard to deal with right now. It just isn't. That's just the truth. So I wonder if it has anything to do with just the years, the age. I'm sure it does. And I wonder too how much it has to do with if you start late. If all of a sudden when your kids are 10, new rules, and that would be hard, And the whole feeling left out thing, I wrote jumping ship. Sorry, my eye itches, obviously. I wrote jumping ship next to that just to discuss some of the philosophies discussed in that book. It's by Michael Pearl, and I'm not the hugest Pearl fan, but I have got to say Jumping Ship's a great book. I really like it. It has a lot to do with the teen years, and I mentioned this earlier in this video, in the chapters 8 and 9, that basically the book is your family's a ship, and you want your children to know what a valuable part of the crew they are, so that they feel important and valued and wanted, and that starts early on, and you just build on that. Something else that the book talks about that I really, really like and agree with is you want to link arms with ships that are sailing in the same direction as you. You don't want to be the only ship going this way and everybody else is going that way, because then you are guaranteed your kids feeling left out. My kids don't feel left out yet. They're still little, but there will come an age, I know, those early teen and teen years, where they want to feel, I guess, like they fit in. And I think personality has a lot to do with that too, you guys, because honestly, like, I was never someone to give into peer pressure, to conform to the norms. I did whatever I thought was cool, and I didn't care what anybody else thought. And it's just the way I was. So I don't really remember ever feeling left out or weird, even though I know that I was different. I didn't care. It didn't hurt my feelings or make me feel bad. And I really do wonder where that confidence, if that confidence has to do with how much my mom communicated to me, like, not necessarily just in words, but in her life and her actions and her parenting, that she thought I was great and that she loved me. And I just had that solid foundation that I was loved. And I grew up in a single parent home, just me and my mom, no siblings. I had a bunch of cousins. We all kind of went our own ways after I became a Christian, but I didn't care. I really didn't care. And so I hope that there's a little bit of that in my kids, because they, you know, they definitely have that leadership, aggressive, opinionated spice that I have. And if that's well guided, and if that is, you know, the Lord opens their eyes to his truth and gives them faith to believe, that could be a very good thing for them. But you know, there's no telling. And I'm sure there'll be ups and downs and struggles even in that, but it could end up very great. So I don't know, just some thoughts thinking out loud with you. Then the whole pool thing, the whole like bikini thing, I don't know, like, obviously I am not there yet, so I cannot say I will or won't do this. I have no idea. I mean, seriously, who can say what they're gonna do 10 years from now? But as far as I feel about it right now, I kind of think that I would not be okay with my kids going to a pool party with a bunch of girls and guys. I just don't think it's the wisest idea, because I don't want a bunch of girls in bikinis hanging around my boys. I just don't. Now, I am surrounded by a lot of like-minded people, and the girls that we are around and that are in our lives, they have rules in their home of what kind of bathing suits they're allowed to wear. So that, you know, might make it a little less strict. I don't know what to expect those years to come. We shall see. But I do think that things like that are just going to be part of, you know, the decisions that we make. And our kids will know why, and they may hate it and disagree with it at the time, but I hope that one day they'll look back and see the value in it, you know. And then our refusal to do what others are doing makes them question what they're doing. Yeah, that was like when she was talking about even among her church. Thankfully, yes, of course, that comes up even in my church where we do things a little different. But I feel like the big things, the people that we're closest to, are very similar. That is not to say that we will be close to the same people in 10 years. What if there's rebellion in some of the families? What if there's, you know, no evidence of salvation, and the kids are doing things or seeing things or whatever, influencing our children in ways that we have no choice but to separate them? That's really hard to think about, but it's a very true reality. It's a very likely reality. Or, you know, the people we're closest to professing faith now, and I'm talking about the kids, might be believers and be amazing influences in our children's lives, and theirs and ours and theirs, you know. So that's stuff that kind of has to like wait. But I think surrounding yourself with like-minded people is huge. And I know she kind of mentioned that here too. She said toward the end, we can choose to live in Christian community. I totally agree with that. And then the conversations, the cost of following Jesus is something, you know, to be discussing regularly. The weird one, like I said earlier, that's a little bit hard for me to understand because I didn't really care if I was the weird one or not. I really didn't care. And so I hope my kids don't care, you know. And then the conversations you want to be having with your children. So it's okay to be different. We talk about that all the time. Alien this, alien that. Of course, they're little. That might be like, yeah, now, and horrible later. I have no idea. Apologizing to my kids. I tell you guys how much I apologize all the time. And then the other one was, I don't always understand, but I want to try. That was good. Obviously, my kids don't say that yet, but I do. You always hear that teenagers say, you just don't understand. And she does have a point that things are different now, and there might be some things that we don't understand, and we need to be good listeners. And then the you're not alone. I think that can be, again, shown to them by surrounding ourselves with like-minded people, because they're not alone. And then the what to do thing, I loved the lady, that said, like, all that she did was love God, love her husband, the couple love each other, and love the kids. Because in the end, I agree. And then, let's see. Make our home a safe place, most definitely. And an awesome place, you guys. Like, make your home awesome. Invite your kids' friends over and do cool stuff for them so that they feel like a healthy pride of, like, this is my home, this is my family, my parents love me, look how cool they are to let us do these cool things. And let them, see your efforts in making sure that they have time with their friends when they're teenagers. teenagers. I mean, of course, like, I do that now too, but I'm thinking about that book, Jumping Ship. These are things that he talks about. Like, you might not be able to say yes to everything, like sleepovers, but then, okay, no, you can't do that sleepover this night, but how about next weekend you invite over 10 of your friends and we'll have a bonfire and this and that and whatever else, or something cool. Or, no, you can't do that, but why don't you invite 3 friends and we'll all go camping? Like, do something awesome, like, so much effort to, like, show your kids, yeah, you can't do that, but this is awesome. And they won't feel like they're missing out and left out, because you have stuff that you're offering and allowing them to be able to do. And that's really cool, And then, of course, praying for your children. Thanks so much for doing this study with me. I hope that you enjoyed it. I would love to hear your overall thoughts on the book, and if what you liked about these chapters in the comment section.